Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to our YouTube channel and welcome to this video. This is John from Programming Knowledge and this is part 7 of our PWA tutorial for beginners. So from the previous tutorials, we implemented different elements into our app and we have the UI, and also we installed or registered our service worker in order to support the progressive web app. Now, so far, we only have installed the service worker, but we don't have yet the support for offline capability of our app, meaning we couldn't open our app when the browser or the device is offline. So we need that particular feature in order to incorporate that into our PWA app or progressive web app. So basically what you can see here is that every time we refresh the page, the app will try to request all the necessary resources. So as you can see here, we have the index.html, we have the materialize mean.css, we have also the icons, we also have the styles right here for the CSS. This is our custom CSS, and also we have the materialize.mean.css. This is coming from the Material CSS website. So if you haven't, or I think you already have this particular resources downloaded because you use the starter files for our video tutorial series. And we also have this app.js. Okay, so we created that, and we also have the common.js. I think the app.js is responsible for this one, installing the service worker. So basically we created that particular JS file, and we also have this common.js. We also have the contacts or PK contacts. So this represents the logo for our programming knowledge contacts.png file. And we also have here the icons family requested by our app. We also have the WS manifest.json, and of course this particular icon 144.png, and this is represented by our fetch event. So as you can probably remember from the previous tutorials, we tried to intercept the fetch event and then call a callback function, and we tried to display what's inside that particular event object right here. So that's why we're getting this particular output, and we can see here the request right here, and then the URL that has been requested. So for example, in this case, we're requesting the materialize.mean.css. Another thing, for example, this one is requesting for the icon dash 144. This one is requesting for the manifest.json file. So all of this requests should be, or all of these resources inside this particular request should be saved into our cache so that we could support the offline capability of our PWA. Now basically what we could do is add a lot of lines of codes here in our service worker file, and what we could do here is let's try to save the assets that we're gonna save into our cache. So we're using the cache of the browser, and then we're gonna list here all the resources that being requested by the app. So basically we could add the files or resources, so by using this particular variable cache right here, or caches, and then we could open that cache. So this is the cache for our browser, and this particular method or function is asynchronous, meaning it takes time to complete. So in here we could try to add the then function, okay, and it's gonna take the cache object and we're gonna add here a callback function. So in here we need to specify the name of the cache that we're trying to save the resources into. So what we could do here is add a constant for our cache name. So const and then cache name equals, so for example, all the resources that we're trying to request right here is the default, or meaning this is the necessary resources that the PWA or the project will request, and without these resources our app will not be formed, or otherwise, in other words, this particular resources makes up the building block of our app. So what we need here is the resources, and we're gonna name our cache name as app-shell resources. So I'm just gonna make it rs, and then later on we're gonna add a versioning for this particular cache, so that we could have a new version for the cache, because we're gonna delete or update the cache inside the browser. So for now, let's just name our cache as app-shell or -rsrs. Okay, there you go. And then we could specify the cache name right inside the open function right here. And inside this particular function, we're gonna use this particular object right here, cache. So we're gonna add the resources. So there's two ways on how to add resources to our cache. So we could add, or use the add function, or we could also use the add all function, which you could specify several resources. So for example, you could say here add. Okay, so inside here will be the assets that we're gonna try to add to our cache. So basically what we will try to add here is the resources that is being requested by our app. So for example, we have the index.html, the materialize.mean.css, we have the styles, and so on. So let's just add that right here. And what we could do is add another constant right here to hold all the necessary assets that we're gonna save to cache. So first will be index.html. There you go. So that's one of the resources being requested by the app. So index.html, and then we have the JS file, which is js/app.js, and then we're gonna add also js common.js, and then the JS file for our materialize. So materialize that mean.js, and then also we have the CSS styles, our custom CSS styles for this particular app. So styles.css, and that's basically here CSS and then styles.css. Another one will be the CSS coming from the materialize, so that will be materialize.mean.css, and basically this is the materialize.mean.css under the CSS directory inside our project. So another one will be the image, and this will represent the icon for the contacts. So programming contacts or programming knowledge contacts.png. We could also add the material icons. So for example, we have here the icons coming from Google APIs right here. So fonts.googleapis.com/icon, and then the family equals material plus icons. So I'll just copy and paste that URL, so that it won't take that long to type in this URL of the material icons. So basically we're just trying to save all these resources, okay, into our cache or inside the browser's cache. Now what we could do is add also the root request. So this represents the root request of the app, and then in line with that is the index.html, the app, the common, materialize, styles.css, and the other assets as well. Now what we could do is try to add that particular cons right here, assets. So we could just make this one line, cache.add all, and then the assets. There you go. So what we could do is try this in our browser. Let's go back. Let's refresh this, and let's go to application. There you go. We click on this update on reload. So basically we now have the newest version of our service worker file, and it should save the resources right here in our browser's cache. There you go. And we have here all the resources added. So the materialize.css, styles, contacts, and the other resources being requested by our app, as you can see here. So that's what we're trying to save by using this particular lines of code here, and then we're adding this into our cache. In the next tutorial, we will try to move this, because currently we're adding this automatically, but what we want is to wait for the install event to finish, or call this install event first and then call this add assets. Okay, so I think that's all there is to it, guys, in this video. And in the next video we're gonna try to use also the cache resources that we save. So we will try that, and we can intercept the request being done by our app. So thank you again, guys, for watching, and see you in the next video.